Greetings comic book fans and welcome to a later than usual comic book reviews for the second week of May. It was just a crazy week at work, so I didn't get the chance to review my books. But I'm here now, better late than never. So we got 21 books to review this week, so without further ado, let's get into those reviews. So we can kick things off with the indies, and we've got 8 indie books to review this week. We're going to start off first with Valiant, and we have my favourite Valiant character first up. It is Manowar, issue 36, and it's got this fancy little cover thing where, you know, because it's part 3 of Dead Hand. Yeah, so nice little gimmick they got there. Like I say, it's part 3 of Dead Hand, and it was another really good issue. I'm just really loving the whole Dead Hand story. This issue goes in a direction I wasn't expecting. I don't know if that's because I've not read The Armor Hunters. Maybe if I'd read that, I would have been expecting this. But it goes in a way I didn't expect, but I just absolutely loved. The art in this is just brilliant. The way they realise some stuff. And there's some really great like double page spreads there. As Eric goes to get help in defending Earth from Dead Hand, because Dead Hand is going to Earth next, and Eric knows he needs help to defeat the Dead Hand. I also really like that how they made this whole thing much more personal to Eric. Not that it's just his home planet, but it's his home, and after so long being away to get back, and now he's finally building something, and I liked how they kind of made this kind of thing a more emotional, personal deal, so it kind of matters that little bit more. Super excited for the next issue, really enjoyed this. I'm going to give Manowar issue 36 5 stars out of 5. So sticking with Valiant, next up we have Imperium issue number 4. This series is just getting better and better. This is the final issue of the first arc, and this is just brilliant. By the end of the issue, you kind of see now where they're going. By the end of the issue, we've introduced all our characters. We know who they are now. We have them on the cover here. We have the Robot Mech Major. We have Vine 99. We have Broken Angel. We have Gravedog. And we have Arada. And these are the characters it seems we're going to be concentrating on. This issue we get the whole origin story for Broken Angel and how she becomes who she is now. And I really liked that, and where that issue took her character was really interesting. Also seeing what's happening with Gravedog was also really cool. And then at the end it all kind of gets tied together with Arada deciding what they're going to do next and where the next arc of the book is going to go. Just really loving this series. Every issue it throws another layer onto the story, and I just love it even more. Really great stuff, and I'm going to give Imperium issue number 4 a definite 5 stars out of 5. So our final Valiant book of the week, it is Unity issue number 18. The last 3 issues have had been single issues where we've kind of concentrated on a single character. We had Eternal Warrior, then we had Ninjak, and then last issue was Livewire. This shows why they were given that time off, as they go up against this character, who like, if you read, like I say again, I haven't read Armor Hunters yet, but there's this character that they you can never find the bit you want when you want, can ya? Malgram, this character called Malgram they've gone after, and he's kind of like, he's like Eric and Manowar, but his armor hasn't kind of linked with him properly, and he's escaped from where they were keeping him, and so Unity have to go in to bring him in. Really interesting issue. I was a bit disappointed. I didn't feel what happened in the fight was, you know, when you look at other things that these characters have been through, I didn't understand why this was the fight that kind of they all needed to really recover from. I don't know if it's supposed to be, maybe, and I've read it wrong, it's supposed to not just be the one fight, but all the fights, and they needed that time. But yeah, it says, for me that didn't quite click. There are some nice moments in the issue. We have introduced this character who I've not seen before, called Major Charlie Palmer. He seems a really interesting character. I'd like to see more of him. There's a lot of action in this issue, and I really like where it ended up. And the end of the issue looks really interesting to where we're going to go next. We're introduced to this character in a bar who is looking to start a war. She's looking to start World War III. So I like where it ended up, where it was going, but not as probably as high as I was expecting this. I expected it to be a real brutal beatdown, and it wasn't quite that, even emotionally or physically. So I'm going to give Unity issue number 18 4 stars out of 5. So next up, Boom Studios, and we have Robocop issue 11. I believe this is the penultimate issue of the series, which I didn't learn till recently. I was really surprised that they were ending this. I don't know if it's to do with sales or if they always intended we've got a 12 issue arc, a story we're going to tell, and that's how we're going to go with it. This issue, all the kind of pieces have been laid out. Killian is going after his brother, the old man who runs OCP. We've got people rioting on the streets. The criminals have been let loose from jail. Robocop's got to come into his own. There's a lot of really over-the-top violence in this. If you saw the first film, it feels very authentic to that film. This wouldn't be for everyone, but yeah, it definitely has that feel of the first movie with how the violence is. It's quite gruesome at times. Yet at the heart of it, you've got this issue between Killian and the old man, which is quite intriguing. And then you throw Robocop into that mix, and you put some of these characters that have been introduced into peril. I like this. I thought this was good, and I'm definitely excited for the last issue, and I'm giving Robocop issue 11 4 stars out of 5. So now moving on to Image, and we have Black Science issue 14. Oh my gosh, this book just gets better and better. There's just such a crazy team who do this book, but I'm just loving it more and more each issue. Last issue it ended with, it looked like Pia, the daughter, in this, it looked like she had been burnt to death. There's a kind of wrinkle and a twist with that story, but like, and they need to get to the shaman to save her life, you know, because the suit kind of saved her a bit, so there's your little twist, but she still die if they don't get her to the shaman. Unfortunately, there's all of these Roman soldiers between them and the shaman. So how are they going to get there? So that was really, you know, a lot of tension. We've got this, there's more to Rebecca as we're finding out with each issue now. There's more to her than we first thought, and that's really intriguing, and I really love how they've added that wrinkle in. And then by the end of the issue, the book has just took on this ultimately different direction, and you're like, you don't know what's going to happen next, you don't know where we're going to go, but it's just so exciting and gripping. I can't wait to the next issue. This is just brilliant stuff. As always, the art and the colouring is superb. Just a fantastic package, definitely one worth checking out, and I give Black Science issue 14 4 stars out of 5. So sticking with Image, we have issue 3 of Chrononauts. I didn't realise this issue was only a 4-issue miniseries. I kind of was like, cool. Like, I would have definitely jumped on it sooner if I'd have known it was only going to be 4 issues. This issue, last issue we saw kind of the book go in this unexpected direction. This issue, everything starts falling apart for our two protagonists, as they've been living the high life, but as we saw last issue, things are beginning to fall down and fall up to pieces. So this issue, they're trying to kind of on the run and trying to get things right and get safe, but everywhere they go, everything's kind of going wrong. So where we end up is just brilliant. I really enjoyed this. It was just a lot of fun, a lot of action, and I'm really intrigued to see how they're going to finish this. Brilliant stuff. And Chrononauts issue number 3, 4 stars out of 5. So our penultimate indie review is from Image, and it is Birthright issue number 7. This book just, again, like Black Science, the deeper you get into it, the more invested you get into it. This issue probably didn't have as many big moments, but it's laying the pieces on the board. We've got stuff going on with the mother, whose name escapes me, but she's beginning to piece things together, and that's really cool. We then have Mikey and his brother as they're trying to find the next person that's left out from this world. We have Mikey's wife, pregnant wife, who's come to Earth to look for him. We get little glimpses into Mikey's life on this other world. So yeah, it was more setting up pieces. There's a real big moment at the end and a real big cliffhanger at the end. But most of the issue I felt was setting things up, but it was still a very good issue. I'm really enjoying this, and I'm going to give Birthright issue number 7 4 stars out of 5. So our final indie book of this week, it is Saga issue number 28, and we've kind of reached the Empire Strikes Back stage of Saga, where all our characters are in peril. Every storyline we're following, everybody's in peril. Dengo seems to be in over his head as this kind of like terrorist cell he's called in are not the people he fought, and it's kind of put Alana and Baby Hazel in real jeopardy. We then have Marco and Prince Robot and Gus and that woman whose name escapes me. Names today is just terrible. But yeah, they are like, you've got King Robot has sent this fleet to kind of bring his son back, so they're in peril. And then meanwhile, you've got the Brand with Sophie and Gwendolyn as they're trying to find a way to help the Will. So all of these things are going on, all these characters and their storylines are in peril, and it's really good. And where we end up, I was really nervous because I thought something was going to happen to Gus, because Gus is just the most adorable, lovely character I've ever read, and I want to adopt him, and I want him to live in my house, and I don't want nothing bad to happen to him, and I'm scared every issue they're kind of like, is something bad going to happen to him this issue? But yeah, but like, and it really looked like something was, and then we kind of get a twist which is cool. Like I say, this is just brilliant. I'm really invested in where we're going to go. It feels like everything's in peril. Fiona Staples' art, as always, is brilliant. How much emotion she gets into characters' faces is just amazing. But yeah, this was another brilliant issue, and I'm going to give Saga 28 5 stars out of 5. So that's the indies. Next up, we're going to go DC Comics. So here we are now, DC. We've got 6 books from DC Comics this week. We're still in Convergence, so it's all kind of Convergence stuff. The main book, we have issue 6 of Convergence, and I thought this was a lot better this week. We bring the New 52 into it, so so they were the missing link, and we bring in all the other heroes and that, and so at last it feels like an event. Like here we have, you know, the New 52 characters, kind of this planet that's mysteriously appearing, which you gather is Telos. We then have Deimos talking to all the different heroes on the planet. The art this issue is just brilliant. There's some really great double page spreads. You have the adverts mainly are at the back, which I like the adverts better that way, because I tend to look at them more, because when they're in during the comic, I tend to not just to flick past them, where when they're all at the back I tend to look more at them. But yeah, so you have all these other heroes turn up this issue, and it actually feels like an event now rather than just an Earth 2 story, which it was feeling before. It was feeling like, yeah, it's an Earth 2 story, but yeah, it's feeling much more like an event. This definitely was an upswing in quality. Really enjoyed this, and where we end up at the end is really exciting. This is much better. Hopefully this now means we're going to get a really good last few issues of this series. I'm going to give Convergence issue number 6 4 stars out of 5. So getting back into our other Convergence kind of tie-ins, we have Convergence and Green Arrow issue number 2. I was a bit disappointed with this. I think this book was kind of the victim of not having enough space, because it had to set so much up in the first issue. You kind of didn't have enough time to kind of breathe, and kind of we get introduced to these characters, and then the eventual betrayal comes too quickly before we've kind of built this kind of why we should care about them, and why there should be this impact of this betrayal. It doesn't really quite work. And then like the ending is really whack because we just go like it just kind of ends like Green Arrow and Connor lose, and their Earth just kind of disappears back to where it was, and there's a nice father son moment at the end, but it was a pretty disappointing way to end a kind of story. It just kind of like, yeah, it's finished. In each of the books again this week we have a preview of one of the books that's coming out. This issue it is Green Lantern Corps, Lost Army, which is a book I wasn't going to look at, but based on this I really love the art in this, and the story itself did seem pretty interesting, but the art is bloody brilliant. It is done by Jesus Sayers. He does the art and the colour on that. I really like the art on that, and I definitely am tempted to give Green Lantern Lost Army a look, because it does look like it could be a good book. Who's the writer? I think it was Colin Bunn, which is another reason, because I do like Colin Bunn. Yeah, Colin Bunn is writing it, so I may give that a look now. But overall though, for the main story, I thought was a bit of a missed opportunity. I'm going to give Convergence Green Arrow, issue number 2, 3 stars out of 5. Moving right along, we have Convergence Aquaman, and speaking about great art, the art in this issue is brilliant. It is Cliff Richards who does the art on this. But we get a proper fight. It's Aquaman against this villain called Deathblow, and we get a proper fight. It's kind of a bit like he breaks the guy's neck, but Deathblow's kind of got this healing ability, so he can come back. He can't die, he just keeps coming back. Would make a great horror character, wouldn't he? But in other books, we've seen characters get knocked out and their world's lost and disappeared. So I can't get, he kills the guy and the guy comes back, but he's still won. Because like in other issues, like the Green Arrow issue for example, they just get knocked out and they lose. So I kind of like the rules are a bit unclear on this thing. But I really enjoyed the issue. I thought the story was great. I liked the journey Aquaman's character goes on. I liked Deathblow as a villain. He did seem very 90s. I don't know if he was a villain from the 90s, but I like the art here by Cliff Richards. That was really good. Everything about this was just really good. I really enjoyed this. And the ending as well, while we didn't, it kind of, all the books I kind of have the problem of how to end in a satisfactory way, while at the same time, you know, if the characters have lost or won. But yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. This was one of my favourite ones that I read this week. The backup, we get Divergence of Dr. Fate. And we get a look at Dr. Fate, which is written by Paul Levitz with art by Sonny Liu. And I really liked it. It definitely had, for me, a very Miss Marvel feel, and it's not just because it's dealing with kind of like an Asian family, and it's not because it's set in New York. It just had that same kind of vibe and that same kind of thing. So definitely, I was already going to look at that book, but I'm definitely going to have a look at it now, because Dr. Fate has always been one of them characters I always thought looks cool, and I wanted to see more of. So I was going to give it a go anyway, but definitely from this, it looks like it's going to be completely different to what I thought it was going to be. But for people that like books like Ms. Marvel, I think it's definitely one worth trying out. But I'm going to give Convergence Aquaman issue number 2 5 stars out of 5, because this was definitely one of the better Convergence books. Next up we have Convergence Superman Man of Steel issue number 2. This was good. I felt the art felt very much of the time, as did the dialogue. So it all felt very authentic, like the book that I used to read. So that was good. What I didn't like was the way that they changed Steele's character in this. They give him powers, and it's like, I thought the point of these books was they were celebrating and giving us a look back at these characters that we didn't get anymore, or versions of these characters we didn't get anymore, and bringing them back for like 2 issues, bringing them back. And unfortunately, we don't get that. Unfortunately, what we get is the making it Steel into a new character who has new abilities, which means then he isn't the Steel that we knew. So, what's the point? If it's only for 2 issues, why do that? So yeah, I was a bit disappointed with that. The end is good. I did like the end to this one. But overall, yeah, again, mischance. The backup in this one, we have Divergence Bizarro, written by Heath Corson, with artist Gustavo Durant. I was not going to get this book. I believe Bizarro is only a 5-issue mini, but looking at this, I really liked it. It's a funny kind of book, and I don't think it's a book that would work as an ongoing, because I think humor is a very difficult thing to write, especially as an ongoing. But as a mini-series, I definitely think I'll give this one a go, because it does seem very interesting and quite funny. So yeah, I think I might give that one. So Bizarro is one I may give a look. But as for the rating, Superman, Man of Steel gets a disappointing 3 stars out of 5. So, our penultimate book, it is Convergence, Green Lantern, Parallax, issue number 2. This was good. I really liked the art. That was the first thing in this book. I thought the art was really quite striking. And there's some really good moments. I'm trying to find another double page. Yeah, there we go. The art I really liked in this. I really like the story as well of the Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to protect both cities, his city and this other city that is attacking him. He's trying to get these people to work with him while he stops Parallax from destroying this other city. But the people won't listen to him, and they keep trying to destroy Metropolis, which kind of takes him away from stopping Parallax. So I really like the whole kind of structure of the flow of the story, and that Green Lantern was trying to do the right thing, but they really were not helping him get the right thing done. So that was really cool. I really enjoyed it. I was a bit disappointed at the end. We kind of don't know what's happened to Parallax at the end. So that was a bit disappointing. But overall though, the rest of this I really enjoyed. The backup, we have Divergent, we have Lobo, which is another Cullen Bunn book with art by Cliff Richards, whose Aquaman I really enjoyed. Lobo's never been a character I've really been liked. I like the whole deal with him, that he's been kicked out of heaven, kicked out of hell, so he can't die. But yeah, I've never been that enamored with the character. I think the character looks more interesting here. And if it was like I could buy any book I wanted, I'd definitely give it. But I think there's other books I want to try more. So I think I'll probably give Lobo a miss. But overall, this was a really good issue, and I'm going to give Convergence and Green Lantern Parallax, issue number 2, 4 stars out of 5. So our final DC book this week, it is Convergence, Justice League International, issue number 2. This was disappointing. I really like the Blue Beetle character they introduced in this. I really like him, and I wouldn't mind reading more of this version of the Blue Beetle. Where the disappointing is, where the fighting is, we always seem to be somewhere else. And then the story doesn't really have an end. They just kind of, they knock them out and they've won, and it just kind of finishes. The art I did like. I thought there were some nice moments, but it just seemed we were always away from the action rather than being involved, and that was a bit disappointing. But I did really like the Blue Beetle character, and the art was good. The backup, here we have Divergence, it's Justice League issue 3001, written by Plot and Breakdowns, Keith Griffin. Script J.M. DeMatteis, artist David Porter. Sorry. So yeah, this seemed a lot of fun. This did seem a lot of fun, like the original series. So yeah, that one was already on my list, and I don't see no reason to change that. So I'm going to give Convergence, Justice League International, issue number 2, 3 stars out of 5. So those are my DC books for this week. Next up, we've got Marvel. So here we are now with Marvel, and we've got 6 Marvel books to review this week. We're going to kick things off in a galaxy far, far away. It is Star Wars Darth Vader, issue number 5. I've really been enjoying this. I like the art by Salvador Larocco. Sometimes, however, there are times when, like, Darth Vader's character, he looks out of place. The way that he's drawn, he looks out of place to how the characters are around him, and he doesn't look quite right. But overall, I enjoyed the art. The story takes an interesting turn as Vader's kind of to see who's the Emperor trying to replace him with, and this takes him on a journey and a bit of a revelation, as the Emperor has this kind of team of people that have different abilities, and it kind of ends with Vader having to take on this team. Vader meets them here. I don't know, I kind of was a bit conflicted with this whole thing. On the one hand, a lot of the things we see in this issue are not very original, because it's clear Kieran Gillen has used, like, this creature we see here, it reminds you so much of, like, Avengers, and it's like, so, and like then he's got this team, which is kind of what you see all the time in superhero books. So it's kind of like Kieran Gillen bringing the superhero book to Star Wars and kind of doing a lot of superhero tribes, and it's kind of like, yeah. On the one hand, yeah, that's never done, as far as I know, has never been done before with Star Wars and kind of mashing these things up. But then at the same time, you're kind of thinking, well, I want Star Wars. I don't want Star Wars with superhero kind of things in it. I want Star Wars. So I kind of a bit conflicted. I am interested to see where we're going to go from here. It's an enjoyable read, and I like the team Vader's put together. Again, a team, but I don't know. We'll see where this goes. But this issue was an enjoyable issue, and I'm going to give Darth Vader issue number 5 4 stars out of 5. So next up we have Silk issue number 4. This was very disappointing. Why is Silk so angry at Spider-Man? I don't understand. Did they have a falling out? I thought, they had this thing going on. They couldn't keep their hands off each other, and that's why they had to stay away. I didn't think they had a falling out, but she seems to have a lot of anger towards Spider-Man. We then have, like, the Fantastic Four. I just don't like how people have started drawing the Thing. He just doesn't seem to be like the Thing. And that's another thing with this issue. The art changes, and it is so different to the art we were getting. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And I can't, when you read this in trade, it is going to be such a difficult thing, because it changes a lot. I'm trying to find a picture of the Thing, but I can't find a good one. You can never find a good picture. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I don't like how that people have started drawing the Thing. It's just like he's this mass of orange. The art, yeah, like I say, I didn't like. The story, well, yeah, it was alright. I like that they're kind of setting up Black Cat as her arch enemy kind of deal. I like that. I think that could be a good thing. But yeah, I was very disappointed with this, and I'm hoping next issue is going to see a return to form, because I think there were some very interesting things going on in this book, and this issue, just everything kind of dropped, and it wasn't good. So I'm going to give Silk issue number 4 2 stars out of 5. Next up we have The Last Days of Magneto, issue number 18, Cullen Bunn. While I feel the early days of this book were when it was at its best, with Magneto as this kind of mutant Avenger, I like that. Now we've seen Magneto trying to be a hero, and to save the mutant race, he's going to have to save all of humanity. And we get to see during the incursion what Magneto does and how he deals with this. Once again, Cullen Bunn uses this thing that he uses a lot, where he uses scenes from the past to kind of illustrate what's going on now, and they kind of add more emotion and impact to what's happening now when you see kind of these scenes from the past. So I liked that. I thought the issue flowed nicely and built nicely, and what happened at the end, I'm like super pumped for the next issue. I think this is definitely going to go out with a bang and not a whimper, and I give Magneto issue number 18 4 stars out of 5. So next up we have Miss Marvel issue number 15. This book is just, as always, is just brilliant. It's a great dose of fun, but at the same time there's some really bad stuff going on for Miss Marvel. Cameron showed his true colours. You know what it's like. You meet a boy, you fall in love, you fancy the boy kidnaps you, hands you over to this inhuman guy who wants to use your powers, and then then threatens to beat you. This boy you fancy threatens to beat you because you don't go along with this plan. You know, the typical story. I really enjoy this. It's very Buffy the Vampire-esque to me, because you have the whole thing where she's got these abilities and she's being a hero, but then at the same time she's dealing with this stuff that we all go through as teenagers. So I really like that. I also really like that the one she calls is Bruno, and I like that relationship. He's got this love for her, but she only sees him as a friend, and there's a nice moment between the two at the end, which is really cool. The art all the way through the book just really adds to the fun tone of the series, but takes nothing away from the drama of the story. This is just really a tour de force of how to do a really good comic, and if you're trying to introduce somebody to comics and you want to, this is definitely a great place to start, because there's so much that kind of as that Silver Age feel, in that, you know, it's grounded, and all the craziness that goes on you believe because the core of the book is grounded. Really enjoy this. I'm going to give Miss Marvel issue 15 5 stars out of 5. We then have Uncanny Avengers issue number 4. Again, I really love the art by Daniel Acuna. He just has a unique way of drawing and colouring everything, as he does it all. The dude does it all. So yeah, I really liked I like this issue. I like how the story's kind of bringing the team together, and how it's going to take all of them to defeat the High Evolutionary, because that is the Avengers. That's the core of what Avengers is. It's about these separate heroes having to come together to fight something that they can't fight by themselves, that they need this team together. So I like that. I'm not the biggest fan of the new origin of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. I'm not the biggest fan of that. So I'll say that right here. Though I do like how this story is coming together, and I'm going to give Uncanny Avengers issue number 4 stars out of 5. So our final Marvel book to review in this section, it is Thor issue number 8. This is the issue where it's revealed who our Goddess of Thunder is. I'm super chuffed because it's the person I originally thought it was, but then they threw me off the scent. But I liked that it was this person, because not only because I was right, and I'm not right that often, so that's really cool, but also I liked it because once you know who this character is, you can see a way that she isn't going to be the Goddess of Thunder forever, that there's an expiry date on her. So it's going to be, there's going to be a point where Mjolnir is not going to have an owner, and maybe Thor can become worthy again and get his name and his hammer back. So I liked that. The whole issue, the structure of the issue is all building up to this big reveal at the end, and I liked that. That was really cool. Dowderman's art is just superb. I was really upset when this series began we didn't have Esad Ribic, but this is such a different story. Dowderman's art, I think, fits it better than Ribic's does. Ribic, he was brilliant on God of Thunder, and it made it made it feel more mythic, more, you know, like you found this old saga of Thor, and you'd open this volume of this book to find out this history. It made it feel like that. Where this is a different kind of story, a more modern story, and so I feel the art is appropriate and works well with this story. All in all, this was just brilliant, and I'm going to give, and we have a big battle here against Destroyer, but it was the fallout I found more interesting, and I'm really intrigued to see where all the different plot points are going to go, and I'm going to give Thor issue number 8 5 stars out of 5. So those are the Marvel books. Now we get pick of the week. So here we are, pick of the week, and for the second week of May, my pick of the week is Secret Wars issue number 2. by Jonathan Hickman with art by Isad Ribic. This was just immense. This was the first book I read. First start, that cover, that is just got to be one of the best covers ever. Look at how many Thors you've got in that cover. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. But then the story inside is just brilliant. Last issue we had the end of everything. This issue we now have Battleworld, and we're introduced to this new planet. I loved the story. I loved seeing all these different places, seeing familiar characters in unfamiliar ways and repackaged, and just brilliant. The art throughout was superb. And I kind of like the build up to at the end we get the name of the planet, and I loved how they built to that, which I've probably just spoiled there for you, but yeah, I loved that. So yeah, this was just fantastic. It was everything I kind of wanted in Secret Wars. I'm really intrigued in how they've set up all the different things, and you know, what they kind of tease, what they've discovered beneath Battleworld. Well, I thought it was something else, but then kind of the reveal that it's not what we thought it was, and I'm super excited now. This was really good stuff. Comic book tour de force. Like I say, the art throughout is just superb, and gives the book a kind of real mythical feel. I like I say, the reimaginings of all the characters and all the different lands. I think we get like a map in the back of the book, kind of introducing us to Battleworld and what all the different countries are. But yeah, this was just fantastic, and I'm going to give Secret Wars issue number 2 my pick of the week. Well, welcome, you've made to the end of the video. So now we have Company of the Week. What this is each week I take the books I've reviewed, take all the indie books, add the scores together, divide by the number of books I've reviewed, and that gives me an average score. I do the same with Marvel and DC, and then we see who is the Company of the Week, who got the best average score from their books this week. So without further ado, let's get into this. In third place with 3.6 it is DC Comics. The whole Convergence thing I feel really hurting for the books for them, as the second range of books hasn't been as strong. We then have in second place with an average rating of 4.1 Marvel Comics in second place. So the Company of the Week this week, it goes to the Indies with an average rating of 4.5. Quite a way ahead there, you know, over the other companies. So yeah, I thought the Indies this week were just more consistent. With Marvel you had Silk, which was a bad issue that really hit that hard, and then with DC you had a couple of issues that, like Green Arrow and Superman Man of Steel, that I was a bit disappointed with. Where the Indies, they were all consistently good, so that's what won it. So yeah, you may notice this video was later than usual. I'm hoping a few days after I've uploaded this, we'll have the reviews for the third week of May, so you won't have to wait long for that. So yeah, thank you for watching. Sorry it was late, but thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me those beautiful thumbs up. Let me know you liked what I've done. If you've got anything to say about the video, you liked it, you dislike it, you agree or disagree, please comment below. I love getting feedback, so, and hearing what other people think is always cool. So yeah, so that's me pretty much done. I'm going to say sayonara now, and I'm going to go and read the rest of this week's books. So, to finish it off, I've been Jason. This has been my comic review video. Bye for now.